Y'all need to think more with your mouth closed. You the resort of a man not in the household. That's why you so violent and you seeking out foes. Nobody.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Let us talk about night 1 of WrestleMania 38. The stupendous WrestleMania. So my initial thoughts is, in a capsule, this is a top-notch show. I get it. It started out very slow, but I think they got a lot of the stuff nobody wanted to see out of the way. I think the show really picked up on match 3, which was Logan Paul and the Miz versus the Mysterios. I think the show really picked up right there, and it built and built and built and built and built from there. And the crowd stayed with them because the crowd was kind of throughout the show. And then, boom, 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 boom. There was a dip here and there, but the crowd was growing. It was growing. So this show was great. I had so much fun watching this show. It says a lot because the Saturday show was actually positioned to be the weaker of the two shows because Brock and Roman is going to be on Sunday. Edge and AJ is going to be on Sunday. So everybody's kind of like, what's the point of the Saturday show? It's all throwaway garbage. But not really. Oddly enough, also, this was a very work rate heavy WrestleMania too. In so much as everybody put on their boots. Everybody had their boots on. Everybody got what they wanted. With the exception of fans of Ronda Rousey and AEW marks. Everybody else got what they wanted. And had fun riding the wave. Night 1 of WrestleMania 38 is an all-timer. It's certainly better than WrestleMania 37. It's certainly better than 36. 36 had no crowd. It's better than most of 35. Probably everything from 31 to currently is better than everything. Better than all of that. You know? It's certainly better than a lot of the Attitude Era WrestleManias. Is it like the greatest WrestleMania of all time? Probably not. But this is only half the show. The other half of the show is Sunday. Hopefully I'm not being a prisoner at the moment and then I'll watch it again in a couple of months and I'm kind of like, yeah, it's stupid. But I'm watching it after working 12-hour shift and I stayed up through the whole thing and I didn't feel tired. It kept building. So I love this show. The show was very good. So I didn't watch any of the pre-show, so that helped. First match, Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs were defeated by the Usos via the one and done. Rick Boogs blows out his knee, the quad patella injury. He's going to need surgery. He's going to be out for a long time. Oddly enough, I think it was Jimmy Uso jumping on his shoulders. He just leapt on his shoulders and Boogs tried to stabilize himself. He planted his foot back. He just put too much weight on that knee and it just buckled underneath him. The yellow and orange thunderbolts for Nakamura, that was actually very good. I like the color coordination there. I didn't need the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders to open the show. I didn't need that. I didn't see the point of those, but I mean, it is what it is. This is a show. Nakamura continued to wrestle by himself and ended up losing, which of course told the right story. I wonder was that the planned finish or was that just kind of, let's just get out of here. This guy's obviously hurt. He can't go. In any event, the Usos continue. This match was fine. I still believe that the purpose of it was to put over Boogs and really show Boogs' stuff. And unfortunately, he got hurt. Second match, Drew McIntyre defeats Happy Corbin with Madcap Moss. Drew McIntyre did a top rope suicida, which was crazy. He leapt over the top rope and did like a swanton onto Happy Corbin. It was crazy. So this match obviously was supposed to be big, stupendous, because Drew McIntyre was the first person to pin Happy Corbin since he became this persona. But what was even bigger deal, it wasn't really treated like a big deal by the audience, is that he was the first guy to ever kick out of the End of Days. The End of Days is the most protected finish in the WWE. only one guy has ever kicked out at the end of days, and that is Drew McIntyre. So this match was obviously meh. What more can you really expect from Baron Corbin or King Corbin or whatever the fuck Corbin they're calling him? You don't expect too much out of him anyway. He's going to have a serviceable match. He's not going to have a great one or a good one. He's just going to have kind of a match. And he did. And it was what it was. So this match was cut. It was supposed to be the New Day versus Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch. Butch was, I guess, going to be in their corner. And they cut the match. So let's talk about that. Yes, matches get cut sometimes. I think that what happened is that the Usos, Boogs, and Nakamura match got cut short because of Boogs' injury. And they just put that extra time in other places, like video packages, there was too many of those. That was a knock against the show, is that there were so many video packages. And the two of the final 3 or 4 matches were pretty lengthy. And I think they probably just sprinkled some of that time throughout those matches. But it wasn't a match I think people really needed anyway, considering we have seen iterations of that match already on SmackDown. A lot of people think they're going to get bumped to the Sunday show, or they may even get bumped to the pre-show on Sunday. I don't know. I can tell you I didn't really miss it. when it came main event time, I didn't miss it. So it is what it is. After this match, Drew McIntyre cut the ropes. He sliced the top ropes, and his sword bent. It looked like it was gonna break. But I guess that was supposed to be a cool spot where he slices the ropes, and it wasn't bad. But it would have been nice if they did it and it worked like a match, the next match with the ropes down, and then took time to fix it or something like that. But I guess they had to show you that the sword is actually real, and it's not just a toy. All right, so the next match, the Mysterios versus the Miz and Logan Paul. This match was actually kind of fun. I'm not going to lie. Logan Paul actually impressed me. Logan Paul is not a wrestler. So the bar for me being impressed when it comes to him is very, very low. It is very low. He didn't fall all over himself, and he didn't go out there and kill himself. He did whiff a lot of punches. He whiffed a couple of kicks. But his athleticism was actually quite impressive. His agility was pretty impressive. He knew the spots that he was supposed to do. He knew where he was supposed to be. So I was actually very impressed with his performance. He also, worked a very physical style, took a lot of chops and, got beat up. He walked out of there pink and his eyes were sunken in. I do think that it was pretty nice that, he was a wrestling fan as a kid. So we got to see the whole young Logan Paul with the Intercontinental Championship on his shoulder. I thought he was an absolute dork though, because he came out there with the world's most expensive Pokemon card around his neck. I was like, shit. We got dorks at WrestleMania now. That's the last thing we need. Like, we got enough marks running around here. Now we got Pokemon dorks. Jesus Christ. But he actually impressed me. The Mysterios, I did enjoy Dominic's gear. He's wearing Los Gringos Locos gear, which is Art Bar and Eddie Guerrero, their tag team from AAA, before Art Bar passed away. So they're not really hiding this whole Dominic is Eddie's son thing. I'm kidding, of course. But there was more yellow, because the Miz and Logan Paul both wore yellow. That was pretty cool. This match was very slow, but it built very well. And of course, they made us, take our time to get to Logan Paul getting the 619. But when he did get it, it was pretty sweet. I was, again, very impressed by his agility. He did the 3 Amigos and the Frog Splash. His Frog Splash wasn't very good, but it was okay. So I graded this on a scale. The scale being that Logan Paul doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So when he whiffed that kick, because the Rey Mysterio kicks you in the head, and he whiffed the kick, he sold it even though it didn't connect. He just did what he was supposed to do. And I liked his aggression for some of the spots where he was supposed to throw a punch and get dodged. He legitimately seemed to throw a punch and he got dodged. So it looked good. His shit wasn't all bad. So it looked like he might have had some fun out there. I was deeply, deeply surprised that the Miz and Logan Paul actually won the match. So the Miz blind tags himself in, hits the skull crushing finale, and pins the Mysterios. After the match, the Miz and Logan Paul are celebrating, and then the Miz drops Logan Paul with the skull crushing finale. He turned on him, which actually got some people cheering because, you know, Logan Paul is one of those kids that they just hate. So maybe they're building to something else. Maybe Logan Paul is going to wrestle the Miz. You know, that might be fun. When? I don't know. But they kept telling us that Logan Paul picking up the business better than anybody ever. I don't know if I saw that. I think Bad Bunny was still better than Logan Paul. But I do think Logan Paul did very well. And it's incredible that these celebrities are doing quite well, and WWE is training them from scratch. You know, and then they have people in NXT who, you know, can't seem to get anything done. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. Is it like they getting different trainers for some of these guys? Because that's what it seems like. It seems like some of these guys, like the Bad Bunnies and Pat McAfee, I know he got trained by Rip Rogers. And, you know, these guys are getting like secret, double secret, top secret training, and everybody else is going into the factory in NXT. And they're not terrible, but, you know, these celebrities are kind of like showing their ass. Like, you know, hey, we can do this shit too. So, we got the unnecessary pantsuit Stephanie McMahon, who came out there to introduce Gable Steveson. And I was just kind of like, what the fuck is that shirt he's wearing? I never wore a button-up shirt without an undershirt on, but apparently that's what Olympic gold medalists do. And they just kind of keep showing off this shiny new toy. And I'm just kind of like, I don't care. I don't care about this guy at all. Do something. But once he came out, I was like, okay, well, he's not going to be Cody's opponent. I was shocked to see Stephanie McMahon in full Hillary Clinton gear. I'm just kind of like, she didn't even wear heels. She was wearing straight up khakis. I'm just kind of like, well, not khakis, obviously. She's wearing slacks. But I was just kind of like, what? She looks so weird and out of place out here. Just, hey, thank you all. Then, now, forever together. I'm just kind of like, Stephanie, get the hell off my screen, please. Get out of here. All right. The women's main event, Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. And I called this match a dramatic mess. There was a lot of botches in this match. There was a lot of botching in this match, if we're being honest. But it came across, mostly of it was them going too fast. You know, but you can't do things slowly. But they were obviously going too fast. In the armbar, you saw Bianca Belair was overselling. And in doing so, Becky Lynch couldn't hold her. So she was jerking and ended up it went from an armbar to a triangle choke because, you know, Bianca had flopped herself out of the armbar because Becky didn't really have it on. There was also a couple of botches in terms of some of the roll up spots where I think there was supposed to be a spot where Bianca was supposed to pick Becky up in like a victory rolls type of situation, but she couldn't lift her. She couldn't lift her safely, let's put it like that, you know, without blowing out her own knees and something like that. So she kind of still rolled through and just kind of let things happen. So there was a couple of miscommunications in there. The biggest one, of course, was the Molly go round where Becky Lynch I think Bianca Belair was too far away. So she tried to come in and catch Becky Lynch for the Molly go round and got booted in the face. So after the match, her face is slumped to one side. She's like Jim Ross. And some of the pictures I've seen on Twitter where her eye is puffy and it's like slumped. So I think she might have like an orbital bone thing. But she took that kick to the face. And I thought she had got a concussion, to be quite honest. I thought she was down bad. But so I was jotting in my notes like when it comes to this match, it was messy as fuck, but still tremendous. And then I wrote that, you know, the botches were not something where you think somebody was going to get hurt. You was just worried that the people were just going to start laughing at them because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And then Bianca Belair got kicked in the face and collapsed. And I was kind of like, oh, maybe it is dangerous. Maybe it is dangerous. But this match was great. It was a fantastic match. Botching aside, they told an excellent fucking story. But the most important thing is it had so much drama. And that's what wrestling is all about. The dramatic storytelling aspects of it. Of course, we gotta go to the introductions. I'm not sure I don't know cars. What kind of car was Becky Lynch in? And I don't know cars. But the band for Bianca Belair, didn't love it, didn't hate it. I was just kind of like, it's there. It's obviously, I'm guessing, an HBCU band. I liked it better when they played along to her theme. I didn't really care when they was playing it, by itself. I was kind of like, this band's kind of mid. And then when they started playing along with her song already playing, I was like, okay, that's kind of nice. But when they was playing it by themselves, I was kind of like, nah, bruh. Nah, I can't rock with you. I'm not getting down with that. These two girls, they really did a great job, as far as telling the story is concerned. And they had the right amount of time. And it was at this point that everybody was kind of like, yo, this is a match of the year candidate right here. And I was kind of like, obviously when botches and stuff like that is happening, you kind of start taking points off, like, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know, like, it's only a botch if you notice it. And like, I can clearly see them trying to fix things, but I was kind of like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too big a fan of these two girls, and I just want to be nice and just say it was tremendous, excellent. But it's definitely, an awesome match because it had a fucking tremendous finish. The finish was great, and they kept building up to Becky Lynch getting the KOD. She kept finding ways out of it, and that's what I liked about it is they utilized every aspect of the story thus far. Becky pulled the hair. Becky put her feet on the ropes. Becky pulled the tights. Becky did everything that she normally does in order to cheat and fell short every time. This time it didn't work. The SummerSlam finish, they even reenacted that so that Bianca can show that she's better prepared for it this time. And still she got manhandle slammed that she had to kick out. So they told an excellent story. It was fun. It was a really fun match. And this was essentially the Savage and Steamboat of this show. Because I was like, hey, they done stole the fucking show. Ronda and Charlotte are fucked. It's over. And I think everybody saw, I was kind of like, if they're closing the show, they're dead. They got saved, though. They got saved. But tremendous finish. Becky Lynch's new haircut makes her look like something out of Mad Max, which is actually a very interesting look because it harkens back to her steampunk look. So, but Becky Lynch, they didn't make a big deal about this. It's the first pinfall defeat Becky Lynch has had since WrestleMania 35. So, and the crowd erupted, and it was great, So, I love this. I love this match. This match was tremendous. Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch was one for the ages. It was excellent. Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes. I was actually saying to myself, it's probably not going to be Cody. And then when I heard wrestling has only one royal family, and I was like, oh my fucking God. Oh my God. It literally, this is when we entered fever dream territory. Because it was like a real Forbidden Door. Because it was like Cody Rhodes from Dynamite, from Double or Nothing, from all of those shows being ported right into WWE. They didn't change anything. He looks the same. He wrestles the same way. The music is the same. Color scheme, everything is the same. And I was just kind of like, wow, this is something. This is something. And you had 70,000, higher 80,000 people in the bag for Cody. Like, all of them had Cody's back. This is a testament to how hard Cody worked when he left. When people say, you need to leave him, learn a new hold, that's what they mean. Cody left, founded a whole new company. He showed people that he can not only be a good wrestler, but that he could have charisma, he could cut promos, and he could do backstage stuff. He went out and did all of that and then came back. The bag is absolutely secure. They had a whole marketing thing planned out for Cody. The moment Cody's face showed up on Monday Night Raw, there was t-shirts already prepared. There was 2 goddamn announcements. There was his interview with Variety, which dropped just during his entrance. That was out. So people are trying to read that while he's taking forever to get in the ring. And there was the announcement that there's going to be an A&E biography on Dusty Rhodes, in which Cody is going to be the executive producer. So I was like, holy shit. They just dropped like this bomb of Cody stuff on you all at one time. I could just see Cody sitting in the office like, Vince, listen to me. I got a plan. Nick, you're going to like this. You're going to love it. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Triple H, time to play the game. Let's go. How about I wrestle Seth Rollins at WrestleMania? But that's not all. We put out this incredible marketing scheme. 4 t-shirts with my ugly tattoo on it. Everybody hates the tattoo. Everybody loves the shirts. Everybody loves Cody. And he just sold Vince this bill of goods. And now there's shit everywhere with Cody's face on it. I'm like, what on earth? And apparently it's a multi-year deal, so he's going to be there for a while. The long and the short of his interview on Variety is that he came back because his dream is to become the WWE champion, because Dusty didn't beat superstar Billy Graham. So that's why he's there. He's back because Dusty didn't beat superstar Billy Graham in 1977. And since that didn't happen, Cody feels like he has to do it to vindicate Dusty. So, hey, I wish my son would have some kind of, complex, some kind of obsession about doing the things that I did. He was kind of really obsessed about being an NWA champion because Dusty did it. He wanted to help build another promotion because Dusty did it. Now he's like, the one thing my dad never did was become WWE champion. And he probably should have been WWE champion. So I need to do it. And I'm in a position now where I might be able to make it happen. So that's interesting, man. Like, I'm not going to hate on a guy. I mean, we just went through a whole Hall of Fame thing, and Undertaker says never be content. Cody chilling in Gorilla at AEW, knowing that he's, one of the hottest free agents in the game, and going over to Vince with this entire marketing scheme and maybe worming his way into the WWE championship. Oh my fucking God, bro. That'd be like a power play like nothing ever happened. Like that would be some real next level shit. But I've been talking about Cody a lot. We're not even talking about the match yet. Just talking about Cody being in the building and WWE allowing him to use his own theme song. I mean, he already comes across like a much bigger star. And they really touted him. The prodigal son has returned. And, Seth Rollins was out there in a very Randy Savage getup. He's wearing like this big blue fur coat. It was a magnificent bastard. He had a gaggle of weirdos singing his theme song to the ring, though. And I wasn't a fan of that. I was like, who are all these weird people? And why are they singing Seth Rollins' theme? And I'm just like, ugh, get these people off screen immediately. It wasn't fast enough, but they did eventually get rid of him. So, this match was billed as Dusty's star pupil, Seth Rollins, versus Dusty's actual son, Cody. Early in the match, Cody did his Stardust cartwheel and and threw it out there. He's, what did Corey Graves say? He's shedding skin. That was real nice. Then later, as they're fighting, and these two guys were really laying it in and having a hard-hitting match that was full of unnecessary bumps, and was unnecessarily long too. It was a complete and total Cody Rhodes match. But it was Seth Rollins said, "Welcome back to the big leagues, bitch." And that's exactly what everybody was waiting for. Everybody knew somebody's going to say something about this. And WWE BT Sport with the Cody Rhodes is all WWE. Oh man, that was a heat rock right there. My God, that was so petty. That was super petty. But this match was actually fun. Now, it was an AEW Cody Rhodes completely over the top match. And under normal circumstances, I'm kind of like, Cody, what are you doing? Why you gotta take the suplex over the top rope, Cody? Why you gotta take the buckle bomb into the barricade, Cody? Why do you have to do that? You don't have to do that. Why do we have to do 4 crossroads, Cody? You know, tone it down. At the same time, this is WrestleMania, and this is his big return to the company. He wants to show everybody all of his stuff. Now, to be quite honest, it's not really all the time. I mean, but as long as he don't start doing this shit on like a random episode of Raw, they're okay. If he wants to do the Cody Cutter and all that other horse shit on like random episodes of Raw, I'm gonna have a problem. But at WrestleMania, on his big return, all right, let him go out there and fire as many bullets as he possibly can in order to get people into him. And at the end, when he was doing the bionic elbow, even I was marking out. I was like, that's great. I would have liked for him to do that before he did all of the crossroads, but I thought it was a beautiful touch, and the crowd creamed. That crowd was creaming for Cody. I was embarrassed at how those people were into Cody. Seth Rollins did amazing as usual. He's fantastic. But this was very good. I love this match. You know, I love the Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. We'll watch again. We'll be watching this again. Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Charlotte Flair won the match, which was a huge surprise, considering why on earth would Charlotte Flair win unless Ronda is about to either go somewhere or they're going to build up. They're trying to continue this feud, which I don't see a reason for this feud to continue. I really don't. This match was actually good too, despite the fact that, you know, Bianca and Becky were so next level, you know, but they also was very sloppy. This match had a lot more precision because it took a different style. It was very ground based. It was, you know, a lot of counters, a lot of submissions. And I was actually looking at this stuff and saying to myself, like, man, look at how Ronda Rousey's limbs move. Like, she's very rubbery. She's so flexible. And I just didn't think about that before. Like, when you look at the rolls and the judo throws and how she was doing things, I'm like, wow, she's super flexible. And it allows her to sell better. And it also allows her to be able to grapple a little bit better. So it looked really good. It looked really legitimate, you know, and it had really good stakes and it had really good drama. As far as the ankle lock spot where Charlotte was in the ankle lock, it looked really good. It looked like Charlotte was going to tap out. She did a really great job of selling. You know, Charlotte didn't sandbag in this match. She did botch her double moonsault, which I wish she would stop doing. She really does need to stop doing that. Just like Ronda Rousey needs to stop throwing those jabs because they look like shit. You know, she stopped throwing jabs. Don't throw jabs. They look like shit. They're awful. But almost everything else Ronda Rousey does is actually not bad looking. Her matches are actually not bad. It's the personality that is the problem. She's like Dean Malenko. That's a female version. And which, you know, means that she's obviously worth less. Anyway, there was some fuckery with the referees, and they kept messing with the ref. The Piper's Pit, and there was a false finish with the foot on the ropes. So I was like, all right, did we really need that? I get it. That's when I figured the story is kicking in. You know, then Ronda kicks off the figure 8, and Charles Robinson takes a huge bump like he's been shot out of a cannon. And then Charlotte gets put in the armbar. She taps out. So Ronda has won the match twice, essentially. As Ronda wakes up the referee, she gets a running boot to the head and pinned. I was surprised. This was the first singles loss I believe Ronda Rousey has ever suffered in WWE. It was to Charlotte, and they didn't make a big deal about it. But obviously this is not over, and they're showing us that this wasn't over. But if you look at Ronda after the match, you can see that she was welted and that they had really gone in there and laid some shit in. You know, they really went ground based and did a little bit more grappling, and they had a different match. You can't have, they couldn't outdo Bianca and Becky when it comes to flash and drama. So they went towards realism and scientific wrestling, which is the smarter play. Don't try to have the same kind of match. Have a different match. And also, it can also be good. Like, was this a step down from, you know, the previous two matches? Yes. I don't think this match was bad. I thought it was good, but I thought it was also following Cody's big heroic return and Bianca Belair, you know, 8-month, 9-month odyssey back to the title, and an epic match with Becky Lynch, who is, you know, one of the most over female wrestlers in the company. So that's what you're following. And I think Undertaker had a Hall of Fame thing popped up around here too, and he got a massive reaction. So you're talking about the crowd kind of, you know, not really biting on the early pinfalls or near falls or whatever, not really biting on the early submissions. But if you keep working it and you keep doing it, eventually people will start to come around and say, all right, it's about time for this match to end. Maybe this submission will be it. Maybe this arm bar will actually work. And then if you work in the referees and stuff like that, you can have a great match that's different from the other matches that other people are having. And I'm exceedingly impressed by this match. It wasn't as awful as I thought it was going to be. It certainly should have been on earlier in the night, I think, you know, but at the same time, looking at the flow of the show, I think the formatting was so much better this time because they stacked the matches that mattered right after each other, which is not normally what WWE does. But then when they gave them so much time to build the stories, what happens is there was no come down match. So the match itself had to let people come down. So Bianca and Becky blew the roof off the joint. And then Cody and Seth comes out there, and everybody's like, okay, where's the cool down match? This is not going to be the cool down match. And it was. What they did was they got the huge reaction for Cody. You know, they let the Cody thing happen. And then they let them work a match that brought the crowd down. You know, they slowed it up, did arm drags and shit like that to start the match. They didn't go into fisticuffs fighting and all that. They just slowed it down. They let the audience take a break. And then they built the audience back up. And then, you know, they went to the big crescendo. That was brilliant. That was a brilliant show formatting. And to be quite honest, it probably should be what it is. You know, we got a little too comfortable with WWE having a match that that nobody cares about, the 24/7 thing. So you can go get some coffee or popcorn or whatever, and then you can come back for the next serious thing. Instead, they just stacked serious things on top of each other, but they booked them in a way where you could have time to absorb what's happening and absorb what had already happened and recover from it. It was actually pretty smart. So I was very impressed with WrestleMania at this point. I was like, okay, now they're about to try to screw it up, because this is where I think they were supposed to put the New Day and Sheamus and all these guys. I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they cut them, to be quite honest. So the main event was Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Kevin Owens is a WrestleMania main event act. Kevin Owens, who, when he was a Universal Champion, Vince said, you know what, I don't like that idea. Had him lose to Goldberg, and then put him in the second match for the U.S. title with Chris Jericho. And then Vince hated that match. This is what I mean by this WrestleMania was so surreal. Because you never thought you'd see Cody return. Cody is back. You know, and then Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out there and gets a pop that is so deafening that I think I needed earmuffs to listen to it at home in my own house. I was like, God damn. It's like if I was in the building, my skin would have come off. I can't believe that fucking pop, dude. It was insane. And it was sustained over time. It's like, it wasn't like a, yeah. It kept growing. Yeah. Ah! I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? And here I'm thinking, okay, look, Stone Cold Steve Austin, it's been 20 years. He occasionally pops back up. Obviously, people are going to want to see him. He's obviously going to get a nice pop. I didn't expect what happened. I don't know. Maybe I thought too much of the time that passed. But Jesus Christ. And this crowd still has so much energy. And it was 4 hours into the show. That was a problem for me. This show was very long. I had a problem with that. But again, I wasn't weary because I was able to coast through the first 2.5 matches. I was like, all right, the show is going on at a nice clip, whatever. By this point, the crowd still has tons of energy. I'm still woke. I got tons of energy. We ready to see Stone Cold Steve Austin and what the hell is going to go down. So Kevin Owens, for some odd reason, started going through the whole how much he hates Texas, and Texas is the ass of the human body, and he apologized to Texas for telling the truth, and yada yada yada. Stone Cold came out there and did his thing, said that he talked about his stupid haircut, his beady eyes, and how he's running down Texas. He's a stupid son of a bitch. He made the people chant asshole like Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens then says, look, I tricked you, Steve. I know I asked you out here for a conversation, but I'm actually looking for a fight. And the crowd exploded. He says, you got shot knees, you got a shot back, you got a shot neck. You had that 20 years ago. I know it's worse today. And I'm looking in your eyes and you can tell that you can't beat me. And Steve Austin looked at him. I love Steve Austin's facial expressions and body language in this segment because he was still very, very much Steve Austin. So and this means a lot to me because Bruce Willis, the actor, he's retiring from acting due to aphasia. And I'm like, wow, the Bruce Willis character is Stone Cold Steve Austin. The diehard, the action star who doesn't necessarily look like an action star. He's an everyman that's in an awkward situation. That's Stone Cold Steve Austin. You could replace Stone Cold Steve Austin with Bruce Willis in like Die Hard or something like that. Or maybe not in Sixth Sense, but in some of his action films. And nobody will be able to tell the difference, and that's a very special archetype. And Steve Austin is in this position. I'm like, wow, Hollywood has lost Bruce Willis, but we get Steve Austin back at least for one night. And I didn't think it was going to be an actual match. I thought it was going to be a brawl. And then they threw the chairs and stuff out of the ring, and a referee ran to the ring, and I was like, oh my God, are they really about to have a match? Crowd explodes again. Bell rings. And I'm like, what in the hell am I looking at here? I'm looking at Kevin fucking Bubba Ray Owens, Bam Bam Owens, the Owens Zuna is main eventing WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's what I'm looking at WWE 2K level shit here on my tablet screen. I was absolutely floored. And I'm telling you, it took me, I'm glad this match lasted a little while because it took me, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 minutes of just looking at it and saying to myself, I cannot believe Kevin Owens is main eventing WrestleMania. That's the first problem I'm having. Kevin fucking Owens. Vince didn't even want the guy at WrestleMania not too long ago. Now, he's getting a main event match against his childhood hero, Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's the second thing. He's wrestling Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin is present. That's the third thing. So it's like so much stuff going on. I'm just kind of like, I'm just floating through the breeze. I'm like, what in the fuck? Did I take DMT? Was I hanging out with Joe Rogan? Am I dreaming that, you had this WrestleMania here that featured fucking Logan Paul having a decent match? Goddamn Undertaker with the Hall of Fame blowing the roof off the joint 2 nights in a row. Cody returning, and now Stone Cold Steve Austin is having a match. What the hell? One of those things alone is actually quite not bad. When you add all that shit together, I mean, come on, you got something special here. So it took a while for me to actually orient myself into what was going on the screen that I was looking at. And it really didn't hit me that it was real until Steve Austin took his first bump. And I was like, wait a minute, he just went down. And when he took a suplex in the crowd on the floor, I was like, motherfucker, they having a match. They having a real fucking match. This isn't just going to be Steve Austin slugging him and following him around slugging him. No, they're doing stuff. They're doing stuff. He ran Steve Austin into that ring post and Steve Austin took a bump. When Steve Austin took that bump and Kevin Owens pulled his neck down on top of the top rope, I was like, what? I can't believe Steve Austin is selling for this fucking guy. I was like, oh, they're having a real match. This is a real match. I'm thinking match in quotations. I'm thinking he gets punched a bunch of times, stomp a mud hole in him, kick to the stomach, stunner, and that's it. No, they was all up the ramp. I was like, this shit fucking rules. I couldn't even tell you. It's like one of those things where you get lost in the moment. You're not thinking analytically anymore. Like once I was on the DMT train and this match is actually occurring, I'm like, all right, I just want to see how it's going to happen. What's happening here? How do we, clearly Steve Austin wins, but how do we get there? And so they did the spot where Kevin Owens tries to hit Steve Austin with a chair. It bounces off the top rope, hit himself in the head with the chair. Then he gets a stunner and gets pinned. I was like, okay. This was actually very fun. The talking segment part, not so much. The crowd was very into it. I was just kind of like, hey, look, man, this show's 4 hours, bruh. Okay, the show is 4 hours. All right, can we wrap it up? But I didn't expect match. I didn't expect a bell to ring or a pinfall to actually occur. So this exceeded expectations. Greatly exceeded. Steve Austin was taking bumps, bro. Steve Austin took a stunner, bro. I can't believe it, man. King Kong Owens got a WrestleMania main event against Stone Cold Steve Austin. On a scale of 1 to 10, how mad do you think CM Punk is right now? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much steam is coming out of CM Punk's ears at this concept? If you are an AEW wrestler and you're watching this shit, Chris Jericho or somebody like that, and you're watching this shit, and you're looking at this and you're like, this motherfucker Kevin Owens, who we thought for sure was our guy earlier in 2022 or late 2021, we thought he was in the bag. He was our friend. It was contract year. We spending money. We bringing in Danielson. We bringing in Punk. We're buying Ring of Honor. We're doing great shit. Come on, Steen. Come on, buddy. You dangling that carrot out there. Come on, baby. Come get you some. And then he doesn't bite. He stays with WWE. And then he spends all this time in a tag team with Seth Rollins, and everybody's laughing at him. He's losing to fucking Alpha Academy or something like that, and everybody thinks it's a joke. Everybody's like, oh, he signed off for all that money and all that responsibility, and he didn't get nothing. This motherfucker main evented WrestleMania with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Vince is now using these motherfuckers' dreams as a negotiation tactic. I fully believe it now. I think he's going full vulture. I think at this point he's emotionally manipulating these dudes. Hey, Cody, I got that WWE championship. What do you think about that? Something your father never did. That's a great story. Vince, it's a fantastic story. Don't give me hopes up. Hey, it can happen for anything can happen in the World Wrestling Federation. You know? Hey, Kevin, big fella, come on over here. You're wrestling the t-shirt. You're wrestling in a t-shirt. Okay, I'm not gonna get that one out. He wrestles in a t-shirt, and he's in the main event of WrestleMania in a fucking t-shirt. What is going on, bruh? I'm floored by this. Main event of WrestleMania, Kevin Owens. If you are CM Punk, how mad are you right now? I would be livid. I'm not even gonna hold you up. I would be jealous as fuck. I would be. If I was one of those guys who, especially a guy who got really, really close, and you're like, man, if I could get in the ring with like The Rock or Steve Austin or Undertaker or somebody like that, I could get made. And for years, it kind of be like, nah, it's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. We're not doing that. Steve will never actually work a match. And then out of fucking nowhere, he wants to work a match and he picks Kevin fucking Owens. Everybody should have been screaming at the screen. It should have been me. And if you wasn't yelling at the screen and you're a wrestler and you're not screaming at the screen, it should have been me. What are you in this business for? Kevin Owens will likely never be the WWE champion. Probably never. But he can retire tomorrow having said, I main evented WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Something that nobody under the age of 40 has ever done. What the fuck? And he is under the age of 40. That's insane. That is something that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy stuff right there, man. I don't even know why would he even continue wrestling at this point? Where does he go? If you're Kevin Owens, all right, you got stunned again, you got carried out by the Texas Rangers. Where do you go from here? You start wrestling for the Intercontinental title or some shit? Like, where do you go from here? What do you do? At this point, and he just re-signed his contract too, so he's going to be around for a while. What is he going to do? Everything after this is a step down. Everything after this is all the way down the food chain. If this guy doesn't make fucking Backlash or something like that, like, does he really give a shit? He wrestled in the main event of WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin. He doesn't give a fuck what happens now. He might as well just kick his feet up like, hey, it's over. Roman? You better hope The Rock shows up or you're fucking dead. There's nothing Roman has done outside of being the top star for the last 2 or 3 years, maybe 5 or 6, that can touch what Kevin Owens just did. And Kevin Owens is a guy Vince doesn't even fucking like. He has him wrestling in a t-shirt. Man, bruh, this is something else. Kevin Owens has had probably one of the best WWE runs ever. No lie. And I'm telling you, it's hard to explain that he hasn't had the Hogan run, the face of the company run. But he beat John Cena in his first match. He had a lengthy feud with John Cena. He had a lengthy run as the Intercontinental Champion. He really did good stuff there. He got to wrestle Bill Goldberg. He lost, but he got to wrestle him. He got to wrestle in Daniel Bryan's return match. He's wrestled Shane McMahon. He wrestled Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. He's constantly in big time storylines. And he just wrestled Stone Cold Steve Austin. That dude, he just had one of the most underrated WWE careers ever. And it didn't feature him being the main event of every night or every show. It's just opportunities falling into his lap. I am floored at the greatness of Kevin Owens' career, and I did not see it coming. I still make fun of him. I was just making fun of him. I just call him shit. I don't even be thinking about that stuff anymore. Nasty Boy Owens. Earthquake Owens. This motherfucker. Tugboat Owens. Natural Disaster Owens. Wrestling in a fucking t-shirt in the main event of WrestleMania. Holy shit. My throat dry. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. I'm more floored by that than the fact that Steve Austin had another match. Because I was actually more apt to believe that Steve he would likely do one more, you know? And I don't think he'll do any more after this, because he's probably going to wake up tomorrow like, holy shit, what did I do? What did I decide to do? And you know the phone going to ring. Soon as Saudi Arabia comes, the phone going to ring. And it's like, Steve, hell, Vince, I ain't got no more in the tank. But, man, I can't believe Kevin Owens is a WrestleMania main event talent. And it got over. It didn't shit the bed. It got over. They had a good match. I finally started talking about the match. They had a good match. It was a fight, though. They did a couple of suplexes, some body slams. Austin, they told the story that the more Austin drank, the stronger he got. The more he beat Kevin Owens' ass. Kevin Owens took hella bumps. He was bumping all over the place. He did twisties and all moonsaults and shit off clotheslines. He sold everything like $1 million. He absolutely put his A game in for this. And it wasn't very long, but it was long enough. And again, Stone Cold Steve Austin taking bumps. Floored by that. I love this. I love this, man. And this was the perfect crescendo. Because once it became a match, and I kind of figured that once people started saying it was going on last, that it was probably going to end up being a match. Because why else would you put it? Why would you put a segment on last? That it was probably going to end up being a match somehow. But you wasn't going to top this. You wasn't going to top it. So it going on last was absolutely the right decision. And I love this show. This show was fun as fuck to me. The first, 30 minutes, the first two matches, I was kind of like, nah, this ain't hitting. But the Mysterios versus Logan Paul and the Miz, I found that to be fun. Bianca and Becky blew the roof off the joint. Cody and Seth tried to steal the show from them. Ronda and Charlotte is a dark horse, really good match. And Steve Austin and Kevin Owens is some WWE 2K. You obviously have been hitting the shrooms very hard to think that this match ever even occurred. This Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens, but it did. And I'm just thinking to myself, Steve Austin has let Kevin Owens do the stunner. Now he's worked with him in a match. What on earth? What on earth? Why did he like Kevin Owens so much? Why do you like that guy so much? Why do you like Kevin Owens so much? I hate Kevin Owens. But it is what it is. He's had a hell of a run. Kevin Owens, man, he gonna die fat and happy. That WrestleMania paycheck gonna swing in, and that dude gonna be grinning forever. His family gonna be very happy. And he's gonna be personally happy as fuck. Creatively, he was able to get whatever he wanted out of WWE. Come on, man. And I think somebody said it best, and I think I'm going to end on this. When they want to be, WWE is really the best wrestling promotion in the entire world. When they want to be. And they really only want to be once every couple of years. Once every now and again, they give you a show where you're kind of like, no matter how hard of a hater you are, if you sat through this entire show, I'll give you the first hour or so. But if you sat through this entire show and said it's all garbage, what people were saying for weeks and weeks, oh, this show is terrible. It's a horrible card. It's horribly booked. It's like, yeah, maybe. But these days, they don't really focus too much on the storyline. They should. It's a work rate world now. So it's all about, is the booking going to match the story? Are we going to allow them to tell the story, or are we going to beat these guys in 10 seconds, 15 seconds? Because that's what they've been doing in WrestleManias in the past. They come out there, have a whole entrance, fucking match be 2 minutes. Is that what they're going to do? Or I thought that, Becky Lynch and Bianca might actually go 26 seconds, because they might tell the story of Bianca beating Becky in 26 seconds. But they resisted that, thankfully, and let them have the match that they had, which was very fucking good. So, WrestleMania ruled. Night one was in the bag. It was very good. I don't know. I know a lot of people were more excited for night two because of the Roman match and because of the Edge and AJ Styles match. But they got if we want to compare these two nights of WrestleMania, night 2 got some real shit that they got to bring out in order to fuck with night 1. You know, their main events has to hit. And I mean, they have to hit hard. AJ and Edge will have to really take it up a notch to be better than Cody and Seth. There isn't no women's match on the show that's going to compete with Becky and Bianca or Charlotte and Ronda. But Brock and Roman, they got to bring it. I'm talking they got to bring 100% of their A game if they're going to have the match of the weekend. But I don't think they care about that anyway. They care more about the story. So, and there isn't any sort of surprises for night 2 either. So they might just throw some surprises in there, you know. So we'll never know what actually is going to happen until it occurs. But night 1, that shit was rock solid. It was rock solid. I don't know if it was my favorite WrestleMania of all time, but shit, dude. It's on the list as being one of the best ones. And none of the world titles are on the line. And all of the biggest stars were actually on night 2, you know. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. 4-hour WrestleManias, though, I want to boycott that. But that's why I wish they really just dropped the Corbin McIntyre match. And they should have just dropped it. Just get rid of it. You don't need it. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace.
MagMongoSlade. Best house I ever drew, Daddy.